You're listening to Crazy Shit in Real Estate. You'll be amazed at all these wild but true situations that others have found themselves in. Because on this show, you'll hear uncensored, unbelievable stories from the world of real estate. I'm Leigh Brown. Let's dive right in. So if you're in real estate and you're listening to this podcast or watching it and thinking, man, I need some more Leigh Brown answers in my life, well, guess what, friends? I have a new program that is launching right now called Answers.Real Estate, where I will give you every bit of insight I have to help you grow your real estate business, help you better respond to consumers, to provide a more excellent real estate experience so that the next time you land on crazy shit in real estate, you'll have a better solution to whatever you ran into. Answers.Real Estate. There are monthly plans available. You will love it. Get your coaching. Sign up with me today. I'm Leigh Brown. This is Crazy Shit in Real Estate. This is another high-speed episode. So if you listen at 1.5 speed, you're going to have to pull it back to 1 because I've got Monty Felts today. We're going to talk about some loan information and ideas, some ideas for energizing. I mean, all kinds of things, jumping from the corporate world to real estate. Just buckle up, enjoy this conversation, and I'll see you on the other side. Tell my people who Money Monty is, where you're located. I already told them you're in the mortgage business, but give them a little background on you and let us have a little color commentary.
Yeah. Okay. So had a successful career in oil and gas, lived overseas for 12 years, Nigeria, South Korea. We loved it. We traveled the world. We've been to more countries than cities in America. Even though we grew up in Texas and Kansas, we met at Abilene Christian University in West Texas. Yeah. And
my daughter's getting picked up from Texas Tech today as we speak.
There we go. There you go. Get your guns up. I like it. So, yeah, we weren't too far away from Lubbock. So, yeah, we met there, went overseas with Exxon, both working, and did that for about 12 years. And then I got a call from my little brother, who was a football coach, and said, got to make more money. That led to me talking to a family friend who had played NFL football and met Ross Perot Sr. when he got out of the pros. And yeah, Ross Perot took him under his wing and taught him how to build and sell businesses. Right. He has millions of dollars now, but it's not because of playing in the pros. It's because he learned how to build a home health care, adult daycares, insurance agencies, and then he would sell them for a couple $1 million. So I called him and asked him, hey, what would you do if you were my little brother? And he said, start a mortgage company. It's been good for 20 years, be good for 20 more. And I said, cool. Pass that along to my brother, said, go do that. He said, I don't know how to do that. I don't have a high risk tolerance. I called the guy back, and he's kind of like an uncle to us, and said, all right, what would you do? How would you do it? And so I got through that with him, knew what we needed to do, and it was too much for me to resist. I thought, I'm just going to go do this myself. So I quit working with ExxonMobil, making $250,000 a year, had a great salary, great future, and we walked away and started a mortgage company back in Texas. Crazy. Everybody thought we were insane. I knew nothing about it. And we moved to Dallas, Texas. That's where we still are right now. And I ran 2 offices. I had one in Austin, one in Dallas. And we went through all of our savings, cashed in every 401k, and tried to figure out how we were ever going to survive. A lot of prayer, a lot of tears. And somehow COVID came and rates dropped. And I had been doing it for about a year at that point. And so that was enough to know what I was doing dangerously. And boom, here it came. And we started doing better. Then I got into coaching, which I know you're big into. I've done my research on you. And so coaching saved my life, changed my business, helped me do 4 times more business. Little company out of Cornelius, North Carolina. You probably know them.
You're going to say 4 because they're right over there.
Exactly. Well, they've changed a lot. There's been a lot of changes recently with them. And so 4 years ago, when I got into that, it was awesome. It helped me a ton, get structure. I have a time block calendar, know how many calls I have, who I meet with. I know my numbers, and that changed my life and my business, helped our marriage, all that. So got into their highest level of coaching, paid $3,000 a month to be coached by somebody that makes $1 million a year as a loan officer who's still in the business. And that was what shot us then through everything, taught us how to build a team. And I shut down my little mom and pop brokerage, got with one of the biggest companies in the nation. Now they are the biggest lender in certain categories. And so we're awesome. I listened to your episode with John Bell, the third. Loved that. Love VA loans. My team is really good at VA one-time construction. So you asked about about VA construction loans, and I was wanting to jump through the screen and be like, call me. Like, we do this. And when builders find out, they love it. I guess not many people do it. So every time we've done one, the builder says, oh my goodness, I didn't know anybody could do this. This is so great. I'm going to send all my veterans to you from now on. So
it's going to have our time combating myths that have no basis at all. And It's pretty astonishing because, I mean, you could talk to veterans that don't even know they have a VA benefit. Then you're going to builders that don't know the VA loan applies to new construction. And then I have issues like this amazing realtor friend of mine who's like, what are they going to do to fix the program? Nobody does it here. And the program is great and fine, but nobody's doing it because they probably heard one time that it was a pain in the tail. And we're working on bad information, which can mess our businesses up. So I love that you're not afraid to go chase people with more ideas and more information instead of getting mired in what somebody else said. It's just so diametrically opposed to how entrepreneur life works of don't believe the bad news, go find the solution.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I had to do. When I came back from overseas, I had no experience. I had to create a niche for myself and figure out what am I going to do that's going to get realtors' attention, because that's where all the business comes from. My first employee was my younger cousin who had played professional football and just gotten out of the NFL. And I thought, that's how we'll get realtors. I'll put an NFL loan officer who they know. Well, we did get 50 meetings in the first 30 days, but we got 0 loans because none of you realtors want a football player to do your loan and handle your commission. And I had to learn that the hard way. What you do like is what I've figured out now. You like connections. You like leads. You like somebody building your business and helping you as a partner. And that has been the cornerstone of my business. So when you said money, Monty, or mortgage money.
We like super good communication too. You forgot that part.
Well, I feel like that's the bar. Do you close it fast? Do you have good programs? Like, yes, but lots of people have those. What was I going to do?
Not everybody has good communication, dude. I wish it were so. I like that you think that's a reasonable bar. But same thing with my people. My people don't always understand what good communication looks like either because they pick and choose which calls they return and pick and choose which texts they return. If I forget to call somebody back, I'm fairly horrified by that because I try really hard to get back to people. And the same thing on the mortgage side, like my guys are super accessible. And I know if one of them's not responding, it's because they're actually helping a client. But that's why I have more than one. And maybe we should be raising our bar a little higher than that. But we need you to be there. But I also need my people to know all the programs and be creative. And that drives me a little crazy when I talk to a mortgage officer who's got their favorite program. And that's where they want to put everybody into this one because they like it instead of, hey, we're at the Golden Corral. There's 1,000 options here. Let's talk about payment assistance. Let's talk about the doctor loan, the jumbo. In fact, one of my favorite lenders is not doing doctor loans anymore. Y'all still doing doctor loans?
We absolutely are doing doctor loans. And we're currently the number one non-QM lender, which for people outside of lending, that means portfolio loans, like private loans. Do you make a ton of money, but you don't look good on paper? Like we do that. Bank statement loans, asset depletion loans, DSCRs. You want to buy a property and you don't have a job. As long as the property, the debt service coverage ratio. 2 days ago, I was in Knoxville, Tennessee, and then 1 day ago, I was in Nashville, Tennessee, filming with a crew that's got hundreds of thousands of people leaving California and moving to all these southern states. And they wanted me to come talk about lending. They said, we want you to be our national guy because you're 50 states and all that. And you seem to know everybody. So they came to Charlotte, funny enough, but they couldn't get a good realtor. And I didn't know you enough to make that introduction. Hey, we'll get them back. Don't worry. I'll get you connected. That's what I do. I connect people. So I am a mortgage guy, but I wanted to say I'm more like connector money than I am mortgage money, but whatever. So they came out there and like, that's the movement. That's where everybody's coming. And so many of those people have a business. They want to move that business. They want to know, is Concord going to be friendly to a entrepreneur? Well, we want them to know the loans we do are great for entrepreneurs. The DSCR is great for the person who says, I'm moving to Knoxville, but I would love an investment property in Charlotte, but I don't have enough income really to handle both. So cool. As long as Leigh can find you a property that will get good rent and it's similar, not exact, but even similar to the mortgage payment every month, then we'll do that loan just because it's a no nonsense, that makes sense loan to have investment properties. I know people should be doing like 20 of those and building a real estate empire.
I don't know if my guys have this, and if they haven't, they haven't told me about it. And if anybody had told me about this, I'm sitting here going through my Rolodex, and you're probably watching my smoke come out of my ears about the people that would be able to use a program like that, simply because it's no surprise to anybody. I'm a conservative. And so I have conversations all the time about the financial system, about what's happening with the Fed, with the economy. And many of my connections are moving assets into hard assets, gold, silver, platinum, miners, and now they're really looking at real estate. But not everybody has all of the income to offset, because if you have multiple real estate properties, your debt looks high, even though it's secured debt. So anyway, there's so many opportunities there to provide. And even if you're not a conservative, it's okay. You'll get there one day. But when you think about it, a lot of folks have great savings, and if the bulk of it is in the stock market, everybody's nervous right now, understanding the bigger picture. I think it's one of the main jobs of a realtor and of a mortgage professional to let people know, if you want to move some of that money into real estate, there's a pathway. And so what you're describing here makes the pathway smoother. I'm super excited to learn about this.
Yeah. No, I just finished reading the book, Killing Sacred Cows, too, by Garrett Gunderson. Got to hang out with Garrett in Las Vegas 2 weekends ago. He wrote several books, but that is amazing. That one called Killing Sacred Cows. It talks about why the stock market is not an idea for you to build wealth. It is an idea for the country to build wealth. And this guy is uber wealthy. And he's saying the 3 ways you build wealth, if you really want to know, is investing in small businesses. They make way more money than big businesses, so not stocks. So small businesses, real estate, and intellectual property. What is that in Leigh Brown that only she has that she's not selling? Well, you've already led by example, and you are selling stuff. So good job to you. But many of your listeners may have that thing inside of them that they're giving away for free. I've got something right now I'm giving away for free to realtors like crazy. I'm teaching them. I'm flying places and teaching them how to take vendors and turn them into business partners. You realtors send out so many referrals and you do not get back. Exactly. So I am coaching and training and teaching in Zig Ziglar's model of help enough other people get what they want, and you'll get what you want, which, yes, I want tons of loans all over the nation. But to do that, I've got to help get successful, and you turn those 20 vendors into true business partners that are sending you leads, introductions to influential people, jumping in on events, and building your team with talent. So I talked to Garrett and I said, should I trademark that? And he was like, I mean, maybe, yeah, if it truly is yours. I kind of learned it from other people. I mean, we all learn from each other, but I've made it my own. I turned it into a system. And he was like, cool. So those are the 3 things that make you wealthy. And that real estate one, that's the one that I think you're speaking to. People should be putting that money into real estate.
So do you need a good patent and trademark lawyer? Because I have trademarked all of my stuff. I have a whole portfolio. Do I need to make that connection for you?
Maybe. You probably do. Probably do, so that I can ask.
She'll help you with your assets, because you can build all the wealth you want, but if you do not protect it, it will not be wealth for long. It will be like the NFL players who get paid a wonderful amount of money, and then the minute they're out of the league, they realize they did not protect it by getting it invested properly. And one of my dear friends who was in the NFL for a long time, super savvy with his money, did not listen to any of the flashy advice, the boring investment route. And he and his wife and kids are in good shape now because of that, because he watched his teammates fritter it all away. And I speak to my real estate pros, hey, y'all, what's up? You've made a lot of money during the COVID. And now, as the markets have hit a stabilizing moment while we're simultaneously watching the entire profession get restructured, a lot of agents are panicking because they made a lot of money, but they sure did spend a lot, and not in real estate. They weren't buying doors, they were buying stuff. And instead, I prefer my paid off cars with all the miles, but adding doors to my portfolio. So I do want to know, since you've gotten into the business from a very lucrative corporate job where you worked for the man, you had the salary, your wife had the salary, you had the benefits. What has been your biggest regret for leaving the corporate world? You have to start with something you missed from the corporate world.
It was easy. And this sounds so bad. It's like in a job interview when you say my weakness is I work too hard. It really was
Michael
easy.
Scott. We're not doing the Michael Scott right now.
Right, exactly.
I work too hard, I care too much.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It was fun to travel, and it was fun to be able to turn off on the weekends, evenings, and to know that nothing was going to burn down, which you might say, well, there's never a mortgage emergency. Nobody's dying. It's pretty emotional. So we're not doing brain surgery, but it's pretty emotional when we play with your money. And I take that very seriously. When I got into it, I had just been introduced to the founder of the Ritz-Carlton, Horst Schulze. And I thought, I know, isn't he amazing? he's the whole reason I made these cards that I carried around like they did that were service standards. And so
I can't reach it right now. I'm so excited to meet Horst.
Yeah. He's amazing. I had him do a Zoom call with me because I wrote him 5 handwritten notes to his house. And he finally was like, I am so sorry. You've written me 5 notes. I will get on a Zoom call with you and help you and coach you. And I said, how do I build the Ritz-Carlton of the mortgage industry? Like, tell me how to do it. Before you were the Ritz. So that's the fun side. I took your question and turned it positive, but that's what I do. Sorry.
Next anyway, it's fine. You just got ahead of me.
Yeah, there you go.
I literally have book in all my slide decks because I keep talking to real estate agents about it's not enough to be enough. You have to strive for excellence. And it's not one person's job, it's everybody's job, which I love that about the Ritz-Carlton, that we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen applies to everyone.
Well, we are executives serving executives. I wanted us to treat every borrower like a corporate executive because they don't do their own work. Right. You sign things for them. You write the letter of explanation. You do everything and you send it over and you say, all you got to do is e-sign that. All you got to do is get this done. So I thought if we'll treat every single person like an executive, then they will feel that difference. And we're not perfect, just like them. The biggest story in that book that impacted me was the toilet story, where the lady comes down to breakfast and says, I'm sorry, my toilet, whatever, didn't work. And the person in the breakfast place said, I'm so sorry. I will get that fixed. I mean, I cried. I got all choked up and I thought, that is what I want to create. That much ownership where you own it. And you say that should not have happened and we're going to make that right. I mean, I just thought,
Exxon, nobody in ExxonMobil, as good a company as they are, is going to say, I take ownership for any decision at the company. It's built on, I'm just a cog in the wheel. I don't matter here. But that mentality of, I want this to be great is, I think, what drives great real estate agents and great mortgage people. It's why they can't sleep at night. And we know it's not earth shattering, but you encapsulate it so perfectly with, it is emotional. It feels like the world is ending when your real estate stuff is in a snag. Yeah. Realtors work the hours to help, and good mortgage people are doing the same thing. They're like, let me talk to my processor. Let me talk to the closer. Let's figure out how we got that W-2 messed up. We're going to fix this because we have a desire for everything to go smoothly. So it's absolutely the difference maker. And frankly, I wish the consumer had a better way of telling the difference between those who are all in for making it better and who are driven by it and those who don't. I wonder, we should brainstorm on that. How do we train the consumer to ask a question of the mortgage lender that's in front of them, whether it's because their realtor gave the connection or their buddy at work said, hey, call my guy. How does the consumer figure out which one gives a rip about the outcome? What's your best advice?
It's hard because they all want to go rate. They all want to know, well, what's your rate versus this other online lender's rate? As a realtor, that's a bad idea. That's not going to go well. That's
our best advice. Don't ask about the rate. That's not
right. And so creativity will bring the rate. So you got to get them off of that. Google reviews, I guess, are a way that people do that. They go look and see, what do you say about yourself? What do other people say about you? Who are you as a person? It's honestly a challenge. So the way I approach it is I've got to have raving fan realtors. I've got to have realtors that say, you can't go anywhere else. The guy, I don't give 3 names. I say, he's the one. But the way I do that is I have to earn it. One of my very good friends, she's in Dallas, top producer for RE/MAX. She's their number 1 agent. She has a goal of $55 million this year. I feel like that's our mutual goal then. I feel like, to your point a minute ago, I have to jump in with her and do that with her, pick that goal and make that our goal. Where are you on track to the $55 million now that it's the end of April? What do we need to do today to get you there? Consumers don't care how much you do. They're going to trust you as the realtor. So I think you as realtors can take on that challenge and say, how can we make it clear in the way we refer that there's a lot of different lenders, but this is the person I trust, and that's going to make a difference. It's going to get your offer accepted. We'll get a better deal on this house, more than likely, because they'll call the listing agent like I do every time and say, hey, this is Monty Felts. I'm the loan officer. Actually, I'm the branch manager. I'm going to personally take care of this on my team. And have you met Leigh Brown? You know how amazing she is as a buyer's agent. She's incredible. You're going to love it. How do you know the sellers? What do you need from us? We want this house. That emotional connection makes a difference in whether the people win the house or not. So somehow we have to communicate that.
Well, it starts earlier in the process. Now, I do have to point out for all of my listeners, as realtors, you do have to have more than one name. You do have to give out more than one name so that you're not violating any guidelines that are out there. But it's always going to be evident which one is your most reliable resource. But just always make sure that your list is not causing anybody to have heartburn over violation of TIL-RESPA. But with that being said, with my guys, I know which one's going to respond fastest. It's just how he's wired. And I love that the way I sell him is pretty simple. He showed up at my house with a tractor when my chicken house went down in a flood. So that's the kind of human he is. And it's also how he takes care of mortgages, because you can't silo yourself into different buckets. You're either all in for everything or you're not. And people can read that, I think, once they meet you, but it is so much more helpful if I can get him introduced at the very beginning so that by the time they're ready to make that offer, he already knows them. So he can do what you're doing and make that phone call and say, I'm here. I've done the homework.
Right.
No website can do that. So if you're a consumer who's watching, if there's anything I can tell you, it is that for the love of all that's holy, you have to stop going to lending websites, plugging in numbers that you're making up from your W-2 and getting this fake pre-approval letter from some call center in Minneapolis that doesn't know you, doesn't know me, and can't defend you when we're fighting to win a house, because the inventory issue is not changing anytime soon. And we're going to continue to have these fistfights for houses. You want to have a partnership that wins, and that's the partnership between your mortgage lender and your realtor. And I'll also say this, I think it's important to find out what your lender does in their community. I know that one of my other preferred lenders, she's amazing, and she volunteers at a camp for special needs disabled kids. Well, when my clients find out that's how she spends her time, they know that's part of where her dollars go. Well, they would like to spend dollars with her because it goes there. There's a whole story there. It goes way beyond rate. The rates are, they're going to bump around. It's fairly comparable. And whatever you see online that looks too good to be true is always too good to be true, because they don't disclose it till the tiny, tiny mouse type that's going to involve $55 million in closing costs, which you can't do based on concession caps anyway. It's so crazy. So please trust your realtor, trust your lenders, and get super hyper local on that. So knowing that you've been able to support your realtor partners, is there anything you wish realtors did different? What do you wish we would fix about the way we do business?
Well, I'll say two things that come to mind also on your point there of when your lender can close in 2 weeks, that also changes the price. I rep that a lot. I say, hey, we can close loans in 2 weeks. We do it all the time, even in 10 days. That gets you a better purchase price on a house. That's one of the things to consider. And then we'll do a $10,000 on-time close guarantee. That also makes that seller feel confident that we guarantee we're going to get this done. If that online lender will offer to honor that, then cool, but they won't, because they're just not going to do it. To your point of what do I wish realtors would do, I wish they would believe in themselves. I spend a lot of time coaching realtors, I feel like unofficially, and saying, you can do this. The only person stopping you is you. And there's a great book called The Power of Who, and it says you already know everybody you need to know to be successful. The Power of Who.
I thought you said Hulu. I was like, what did the streaming platform?
It's a great book, The Power of Who. And it says you already know everybody you need to know to be successful. So you don't have to go cold call a bunch of people. You've already got a team of people that love you, trust you. They like you, hopefully, not just love you and trust you. So that's where I would say, wake up, get with some people that want you to succeed too. Be in a partnership, not in a vendor relationship. We hate that V word. We hate being a vendor, because you're losing actually as the realtor when we're a vendor. If you will invite us into a business partnership, we will rep you. I get $1 million purchases, $500,000 purchases for realtors that are that raving fan and that we have a commitment to each other. One of them asked me this morning at a meeting, what can I do to help you most in 2024? Where can I change your life? And I said, wow, I want to close 12 loans with you this year. We got half a year to do it. Let's go do it. And he was like, all right, I'm on board. I have that equal thing with him. I know what he needs. So I would say, get in partnership, get in relationship, and then just break loose. Go do it. Listen to Leigh. Get in coaching. That would be another one I would say. Get in some coaching. If you want to be the best, you're going to have to be coached by the best.
Well, it's the accountability piece, right? You're an entrepreneurial space. I'm in an entrepreneurial space. I'm not going to coach myself very well because I don't listen to me. I'm a terrible manager. I let myself off the hook.
Right.
I give myself excuses. The coaching program, I think everybody knows I've done strategic coach for a long time, which is Dan Sullivan. And Dan has coached more entrepreneurs than anybody else on the planet. And I kind of hate going sometimes because I probably haven't done as much as I should have to be the next level. But that's important because you got to be challenged, and challenges are not necessarily bad. It sometimes gets the fire going again so that you can go get the next 12 deals, hit the $55 million goal, and get things shaped in a way that matters. So, Monty, if you had one little thing to leave with us, I like to ask people the craziest thing they've encountered since they got into the real estate space. Did you bring a story for us today?
I did, of course. Yeah, with your title, I knew. So this happened earlier this week. I called one of the guys who's pre-approved, and he wanted to go over some of his numbers on Monday. We had a time set for 3:30, and I called him, and somebody answered. I thought it was him, and then I thought our wires got crossed. And the person had a Russian accent. I thought, I don't remember this guy having a Russian accent, but maybe. And I said, okay, you still good to talk right now? And he said, yes, I am very lonely. I am in the basement working right now, and I just appreciate your call so much. And I was like, well, yeah, man, absolutely. I thought, I don't know, we still working in the basement, but okay. He said, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? I thought you had questions. Oh, yes. He said, hold on. I must walk through the hall. It is dark right now. I'm going to dust off the dinosaurs. And I was like, the dinosaurs? Oh, man, this is really weird. He says, hold on, we wait. I said, do you have any questions about your loan? And he said, watch this. When I touch dinosaur's bottom, like tail, it will make sound. Well, I play along for 6 minutes with this guy. I'm like, okay, this is funny. He said, you've helped me so much. How can I help you? And I was like, well, do you want to buy a house? At this point, I'm convinced this is not the right guy. Our wires got crossed. So I thought, hey, let's get this guy. He said, how do I do it? Well, let's do an application. Let's get you pre-approved. I was selling, but he kept going off topic. And so finally I hung up, called the man's wife and said, hey, I just tried to call your husband and I think it got crossed to somebody else. She said, that's his new spam blocker. It's an AI spam blocker that will talk to you for as long as you will talk. And it was a Russian night security guard. Crazy.
I think AI is of the devil, but this one actually might be worth trying out.
It's RoboKiller. He called me hysterically laughing and saying, I'm sorry, I just got that thing to prevent spam callers from getting through, but I was worried some of my clients might get caught up in it. What was it like? Tell me what the experience was. I said, well, I nearly got a home loan from a Russian night security guard that was dusting off dinosaurs' bottoms. So it's awesome. That's probably my craziest story, and it just happened this week.
Well, now I'm going to have to break everything that I keep telling Marky Lemons, Rael, who's the big instructor on AI and real estate. I keep telling her I ain't going near that stuff, but I may have to just because that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Except so often I have new people call me from out of state, and so I don't want them to run away. So
you can't do it as realtors. No, we can't.
I can put it on my husband's phone. He's an engineer, and he doesn't like to answer anyway, so I can play with him. He won't know.
And your kids will love it. I did it with my kids last night. I let them all listen to it, and they thought it was fun. So,
well, my son loves answering spam calls, and I probably shouldn't even say this because I'm sure some of his friends' parents watch my show, but don't y'all tell Tim I told this story. He loves answering the spam risk at the house, and when they start doing whatever their pitch is, he says, stop. Do you support our president? And then they get real quiet and say, President Donald J. Trump. And then they always hang up. And he's like, Mom, I haven't found a spammer yet that will keep talking to me. And I was like, I don't know if I harp out or proud by this, but it's pretty hilariously awesome. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
But he'll probably like a Russian dinosaur duster far better than playing with them himself.
It rotates too to different things. So I think, it just never stops. So even if they call back, they're going to get somebody else.
He did tell a wholesaler one time that we had 20 bedrooms in our house, and this guy kept trying to, well, are you willing to sell? It's a terrible virtual assistant. My son said, we can't sell because the goldfish died. And the guy finally figured out he had a kid on the phone who was messing with him. But okay, fine. Good. I'll check out RoboKiller. All right. So Monty, if somebody wants to follow up with you and find out what you're doing for loans, find out more about this wonderful opportunity for investors, what's the best way for them to connect with you and your team?
Yeah. Well, and even if they want me to teach that vendor to business partner program, if that would help them to get their vendors really repping them, I'll give my cell phone number. It is
partners. You said we can't call them vendors. You said we have to call them partners.
Well, imagine if you would sit your lender down and say, hey, I'm transitioning you from a vendor to a business partner.
Okay.
They would sit up and be like,
I thought I was
what does
trapping
that
you
mean?
in your own vocabulary. I thought I had you right there. So it was.
No. Exactly. All right. So yeah, shoot me a text. If you heard this and you want to talk to me about any of it, I will get back to you. We have good communication. 512-712-3366. That's my cell. Email is fine. Our website, if you'll Google my name, it's unique enough. We said we weren't going to call me the full Monty Python, whatever you want to call me, just spell it with a Y. Then you'll find my website. You'll see our service standards. You'll see the Ritz-Carlton there mentioned, what we took away from them and how we built it. So do that for sure. We're all 50 states, so happy to help anybody anywhere, and really appreciate you, Leigh. You're doing a lot of great things. I looked at all your different businesses and I'm very impressed.
Yeah, it's a little exhausting, but hey, it's worth it, because who wants to be bored in a jobby job working for the man when we can work more hours for ourselves, and maybe we make it, maybe we don't, but it's fun.
Yeah. I love it.
All right, friends, if you've enjoyed this conversation, if you feel like you need to learn more about any of Monty's programs, all the information's in the show notes for this episode. So if you were sweating to the oldies and didn't catch his cell phone, never fear, you can click and text anytime. Monty, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate all that you have going on. And thank you for backing up my Horst Schultz recommendation to all of my viewers to be like, and now I really have to read it because 2 people have recommended it.
Exactly. Yep, I'm with you.
All right, guys, make sure you hit the bell to subscribe for more and leave something nice in the comments about Monty. And most importantly, run back here again, and we'll see you next time. By the way, friends, don't miss my brand new coaching program at answers.realestate, where you can have access to Leigh Brown, submit your questions, have them answered, meet like-minded professionals, have an entire library to help you build your business no matter what happens in the market. Get signed up today. I promise you'll be glad you did.
As always, I'm so super thrilled that you joined in for more crazy shit. And if you're a realtor, investor, inspector, lender, or just a regular human being who happens to have an unbelievable story that you need to tell the world about, or frankly, you just need to one-up the story you just heard, then make sure to DM me on Instagram at Leigh Thomas Brown, or tweet me at Leigh Brown, or frankly, any social network where you hang out. I'm there. And if you had some fun, then you totally want to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.